Hello, my friends, and this is a improvised live stream based on a deal that happened on a bridge session yesterday that I found very interesting, worthy of getting its own commentary here. Which, as soon as I put the screen here, no, this is not it, but it's good to see if everything is working fine, and it is. That's the tab. Here we go. Anyway, this was we held the north cards. The students and I held the north cards, and so the other players were robots, which explains the very bad bidding of south. So I won't lose a lot. Let's close the other hands for a while here. But the bidding was south open one, the robot open one club, and then he rebid clubs over the spade over call, which is quite correct. Over two spades, he rebids clubs again, and that's reasonable. But over four clubs, which is, remember, two spades forced to game, and now four clubs shows slam interest, therefore, because if he was not interested in slam, he would just bid five clubs. So there is no question after the four club bid from North, there is no question of string choice. So North is announcing that they will play in clubs. And so why is he not bidding five clubs? Because he's interested in higher things. And South has a very good hand for a slam. And he should certainly cooperate with a four diamond bid over four clubs. But the robot didn't. And truth in reporting as always, he bid five clubs, and then North bid six clubs anyway, judging that it would be very likely that it would be at worst on a finesse, as you will see. And indeed, once we see the dummy, and this is perhaps a theme of this video, how a good declarer should organize his thinking to find the best line. So the first impression here is that we will need the hard finesse, right? If we get the hard finesse right, we have 13 tricks. We have six clubs, three diamonds, three hearts with the help of the hard finesse. That's 12 on the ace of spades, 13. So we can discard the spade on a heart. But that is a 50% chance. So we look for something better. And the second possibility, and a good declarer should have a varied bag of tricks, so to speak. He should be acquainted with different techniques, declare play techniques. And here, one technique that may be applied, which is what the student decided on and found, was trying to strip the hand so as to end play east if he has the king of hearts. And so the basic idea here, before we touch any card, is to win the ace of spades at trick one and discard two spades from dummy on the diamonds. And if clubs are 2-2, so follow the play trick by trick. Ace of spades, queen of diamonds, queen of clubs, club to south. If clubs are 2-2, then we are almost home, assuming that east who bid spades has the king queen of spades. Because we will discard two spades on the ace and king of diamonds. Then we will lead the spade. East will be forced to win because he has king queen of spades. And then any return from east will give up a trick. So either a rough and slough if he plays a spade or a diamond, or a heart towards dummy's ace queen. And so this is a very favorable scenario for us. If clubs are 2-2, it's almost certain that we'll make. So this line is much better than the simple hard finesse that was the first approach. But what if clubs are 3-1? And then if clubs are 3-1 and east is short in clubs, if east is long in clubs, this end play will not work. So if he has three clubs, he can always win the king of spades and play a club. He will have a safe exit. But if he doesn't have the long clubs, if he has a singleton club and West has the three clubs, then the end play kind of still works because he will be without any safe exits. And so we can see that's the line chosen at the table. So let's follow it card by card. I'm blocking diamonds, queen of clubs, and a club to hand. If clubs were 2-2, we would be home. But he's discarded the spade, and now we leave the last trump in dummy. We need that trump as a threat against East's exits in diamonds or spades. Discard 2 spades from dummy, and now we exit with a spade. And now if East leads a heart, of course, we'll win ace and queen, and the hand is over. If he leads something else, we will discard our heart, South's heart, rough in dummy. And apparently we'll be left without any further loser. There is, however, a catch. And this is the cards as they are distributed here. If you looked at them at the beginning of the video, are exactly as they were at the table. And so the player was quite unlucky that upon the spade, West discarded a heart. And that's not right now not so bad, because what is the risk in this position? The risk is that when you play ace of hearts and a heart and you rough low, you'll get over roughed. But for this to happen, West has to have started with 2 hearts. And so East has to have 4 hearts. And it's not quite likely, because if you consider what you know about the distribution of the hearts so far, East has 5 spades. Remember, West followed to the second spade, followed suit to the second spade. This trick here, right? He followed suit. So he started with a doubleton. East has 5 spades. Let's advance to the next trick again. 5 spades and 1 club. We know that East started with this distribution. And so his other 7 cards are distributed between hearts and diamonds. And West started with 2 spades and 3 clubs. And so he has 8 cards distributed between hearts and diamonds. And this means that since West has more room in his hand, he has 8 spots for cards, for red cards, and he has 7 spots for red cards, it's unlikely. And the math is a little bit complicated, I won't go into it, but it's unlikely, it's less than 50%, that West will have only 2 hearts. It's more likely that he will have at least 3. But unfortunately for our hero, West indeed had only 2 hearts and overwrought the heart. And so the contract went down with this reasonable line of play. And the interesting aspect of this deal is that as we were discussing the hand before the play, I mentioned the winning line. This hand is makeable. Mentioned the winning line, which I think is superior. By the way, let's rewind and look at all the cards and consider the conditions of failure of the line chosen by the student. The conditions of failure were clubs 3-1 and the 4 hearts with East. It's an unlikely combination, but as we can see, this is what happened. Diamonds were 6-3, that's unlikely too, right? It would be much more, the balanced distributions are more common. So if East had 3 hearts and 4 diamonds, West would have 5 diamonds and 3 hearts. This is a more likely hand. But the winning line requires only that East has a king of hearts. So if we assume by the bidding that East has a king of hearts, which is not a very definite assumption, because especially at these colors, at this vulnerability, East should, by my lights, bid 1 spade with that good of a spade suit, even without a king of hearts, perhaps even 2 spades, depending on the partnership style, but he should bid. And so the bidding does not guarantee the king of hearts in his hand. If he were vulnerable, this argument would have more weight, that East has a king of hearts. But the winning line is superior because you can decide later. You can decide at the very end of the hand whether to play for the king of hearts to be in West or in East. And the idea is this. I will play the hands in a different way. The idea of the winning line. Remember, the lead was the 7 of spades. And the winning line, the technical name for it is fancy. It's called the squeeze without the count. And the idea is, since East is holding the king, queen of spades and the king of hearts, we can force him down without needing the rough and slough threat that we needed in the first line. We can force him down to 3 cards if we run all our tricks. If we run 6 clubs, 3 diamonds, that's 9, and the ace of spades from 3-1, that's 10. So 10 tricks will be gone. He will have 3 cards, and so will we. And then we will have ace, queen of hearts, and the jack of spades. And at this ending, East has to keep a second heart with his king of hearts, has to keep the double tone king of hearts, otherwise I just play heart to the ace. And therefore he has to throw away all his spades but 1. You'll see at the end. Let's follow the winning line card by card. The idea is we just draw trumps. Of course, we will unblock the queen of diamonds before, because we can always decide to follow that second line if trumps are 2-2, for instance. And now club to hand. Now we see that trumps are 3-1. If we decide to follow the squeeze without the count line, we keep on playing trumps. Keep on playing all of them. Now we play our diamonds. And at this ending here, when we cash our last diamond, it's fairly easy to read the position because of this king, queen of spades. So for East to defeat us, I will talk about this later, but what would almost certainly happen at the table is this. And at this position here, we can just lead a spade. And if we lead a spade, East wins and plays hearts through dummy. And so we make it. And if we decide, looking at the discards, that the king of hearts is in West, after all, we can play a heart to the queen at this point, risking down 2. That's correct. But it's a small price to pay for the increased chances of winning the contract. So this is a vulnerable slam after all. And the defense from East, in this kind of squeeze without the count, is not an automatic squeeze in the sense that the declarer doesn't have to guess at the end, even if he knew that the king of hearts were in East. But on the other hand, it's very hard for the defense to mislead the declarer in many situations, and this is one of them, because the only winning position for East is that he keeps the singleton king of hearts and 2 spades, and the declarer misreads the position. So if, let's get back a little bit here. Let's not focus on the order of these cards, although this is an important subject. So if declarer, if this is what happens in real life, so the East has bared his king, now declarer has to play a heart to the ace and make 2 heart tricks. But in this case, this would be not optimal discarding from East, because the declarer will pretty much know that he has a king, queen of spades at the end, that these are 2 of his 3 cards. So declarer, East of course would have to discard one of these honors. He can do that. He has king, queen, 10, 9. So he could, for instance, discard the 10 and the queen and keep the king and the 9. And then South, if he's paying attention to the spots, we'll have to remember that West led from the 7, so he shouldn't have the 9, and so he should figure it out. In other words, for East to be really completely deceptive, he has to keep the king and the 4. And even if he does that, South will then have to think about what is the likelihood that East started with 5 hearts, because at that point of decision, when at the last 3 cards, if he decides that East has the guarded king of hearts, and he has seen 3 discards in hearts from East. So he will, in effect, be playing for East to have started with 5 hearts, with a 5-5 hand. And he has seen also 3 diamonds and 1 club. So that's impossible. So in effect, he would be playing East to be overcalling 1 spade with 4 spades and 5 hearts. That's a very, 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 very unusual action. And so the point of this final commentary is that even though the squeeze without the count leaves some room for a declarer mistake at the end, if the declarer is alert and following the spots, he usually gets it right. I thought this was a very interesting hand worthy of being posted here. That's why I'm recording this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next video. And don't forget to visit the Bridge Academy, where many of videos that I produce like this are stored. I will give you, here is the link, bridgeacademy.locals.com. Many videos here are completely free, and some of them are for subscribers. And it's a very, very reasonable price, I believe. And so you can browse to your content and decide whether to subscribe or not. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos. Bye-bye.